Hello, everybody. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a pros and cons between manga versus anime. We're going to basically just talk about the pros and cons of each one and kind of just giving an insight of like whatever you like, kind of like a recommendation of what you should start with and like why you should read one form of media compared to the other one. So,
Yep. I will
I
say you're more of a manga reader, right? Because I am more of an anime watcher. I am reading one manga and one manga only, which is Boruto, which is really, 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 really good right now.
Mhm.
But other than that, I am not reading any other form of manga. I believe the anime is better, but I'm not going to see Boruto animated until I'm 55 years old. So I will wait for every other anime to come out.
Okay. I do read more manga, but I'm more versatile. Of just I do both. I'll read the manga and then I'll still watch the anime just to because I enjoy both aspects of it. Which kind of goes into I guess I'll go first. We'll go first with the manga, right? I feel like that will be easier. So, what are some cons? Would you say in manga?
It leaves out a lot of detail. Like hear me out.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you have to take both into account. Like
Okay.
a lot of things that like detail like the anime fills out to have like the story like roll out smoother.
Mm-hmm.
The manga really like doesn't leave out. It's like jump cuts that the manga does. If that makes sense.
Okay, so your con though is that the manga has less information.
Like the way like it's not like compared to the anime, it's not like the full experience.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's that's kind of already wrong. Just in the sense that the the thing I'll say. So the cons of manga obviously are gonna be the music, the putting the words you're reading into a voice, giving it personality in a sense.
That's more of what I meant. That's like the
Yeah.
personality. That's
Okay.
that's more of what I meant. The
Okay.
full experience, like the personality of
Okay.
what the anime can
All
give
right.
you, the music in the background,
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so
the
it's
openings you come with it.
okay. So that's understanding, and I understand. Like that, that's true. That I'll give the anime that. The anime is, in the end, all manga strives to end up as an anime. Like I'm
Yes.
like that. That's the end hope of every person that writes a manga or comic or whatever type of literary book. But I will say the only issue sometimes is the process of translating manga into an anime because the cons for me of anime have always been that they leave out things to
Yes.
to find it convenient to the person watching. They'll leave out some stuff, or if they find it irrelevant, they'll leave it out, or they'll kind of just like they'll turn it into they'll spin it a different way. They'll play the scene in a different aspect. We see that a lot in anime. Also, is that they obviously it's a lot more censored. There's so many examples. We go with Naruto, One Piece, Shonen, all of Shonen. They really heavily censor it with blood, or if someone loses an arm, they kind of
Hmm.
like black it out. Um, but to the aspect that you're talking about of like voices and like the feeling of stuff, I actually would say that there are some mangas that are. I personally feel that they're a better read than they are a watch.
Really.
Because what the author can draw most of the time, when it's too detailed, so for example, the most recent one, which has brought a lot of controversy, like the last maybe like within the last year, was My Hero. A lot of people had an issue with My Hero because of a sky. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, people were upset with My Hero because in the manga, everything's obviously it's black and white, so or it's gray basically, right? So everything's gray, and you don't really get color or anything. But when you're restricted to like restricted with only using black and white, you have to make everything look so like ambient, which makes scenes where like villain coming out, and it's just like a gray sky, and it looks very like damning, compared to in the anime where people were really upset because everything was going really bad, and it took away from the ambiance of when the villain was kind of like destroying everything they could see, destroying heroes, and then in the background it's just a blue sky, where it's like
Okay,
it's when things like that like don't fit. So that's my issue. That's one of my cons of anime is that. Mm-hmm.
I would argue, like for example, One Piece,
Mm-hmm.
the Mary scene,
Mm-hmm.
the music that went into it, like the voice of like the ship apologizing, it made it hit more.
Yeah.
I feel like than like just reading it.
No, I agree with you. I like that's one of the biggest, like we're saying. So the biggest pros have to be music. I guess sound, overall sound, because you reading it will never. I won't say ever, but you reading it won't have that same impact as you watching and listening to it, because when you read, you're kind of you're putting the voices in
Yes,
yourself compared to.
And like the urgency of like the tone of the voice as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's like to me is why I prefer anime. Like, well, I'm reading Boruto right now. Like, major spoiler warning here, but it's like, are you caught up?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, like Boruto getting shot from behind, and like Sarda like going into complete berserk, like Boruto, like, oh my god, like you're reading that and you're like, wow, that's crazy, but like you could have, like in the anime, it'd be like a lot more urgency in her voice of like having to like, okay, now I have to go rescue Boruto because he's immobilized now.
Okay, that's right. See, but the thing with that is also, which funny enough, you're bringing up Boruto. It's that Boruto was one of the prime examples of the anime was garbage compared to the manga.
Yes.
So that anime, it's stuff like that where it's just like.
So is that anime is itself, or is that like filler and production?
Well, in the end, it's still the anime. You know what I'm saying? Like the so okay. So, in case people who don't know, or you, the reason obviously why filler exists is to give the manga enough time to get ahead, so that way the anime doesn't catch up to it, so we don't end up with like a Full Metal Alchemist ending where the ending of an anime separates so far from the ending of a manga. So that's again for me another con, where that's a con on both of them though, because obviously manga, it's weekly, you know, you have to read it, you have to wait for it, but
with Boruto it's monthly.
Yeah. Or with Boruto it's monthly, or even right now Black Clover.
Hunters that.
Yeah, that's true. Hunter, hey, for all those Hunter fans, we're finally getting some chapters in October. I think we're getting chapters this month in September.
I saw a panel. I can't go.
Yeah, you see, so things like that, right? So cons are like an anime. You might never get your second season. You might never get a first season. There's so many animes that get a first season and then nothing happens for years and years and years, or it might never happen again. Like there was a big one right now that just got a second season after like 10 years, which was called No Game No Life. That had a fantastic first season, and they didn't do nothing with it. And it's things like that where that's why people who don't want to wait, they should read, because they're getting their stuff weekly, and maybe the only break they get is maybe when the author needs to take like a week break, so you just take a week off, compared to like for instance JJK's ending at the end of September, but we're not gonna see an anime ending of like the anime end of JJK until like 4 years from now probably, and it's just that time lapse of, oh my god, what if the second to last season of JJK doesn't do well? Does that mean we're not gonna get a last season? That's a rare case where like that probably would never happen, but it's always a thing that could.
And there's also times where it's like, for whatever reason, the first part of the anime will get dubbed for English viewers,
Mm-hmm.
and the other parts will only ever be subbed. And then for the Western audience, it never exists.
Yeah, no, yeah. That
And to me, anime should never take away from the manga. It should only ever add,
yes.
and it should never change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what censorship ruined. Like Yu-Gi-Oh did it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
where the Shadow Realm was never a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
All these characters that were censored died.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Censorship.
And I don't like how filler also from and different shows. Yu-Gi-Oh as well did it, where characters died in canon, but you never know that because they show up later in filler.
Yeah, I agree. That's the thing. That's a lot of issues with animes. That's kind of like the biggest con. It's either you get your filler, which people are like, why am I getting filler, or you wait years, or in the rarest case, which is a One Piece case, is you get horrific pacing of let's spend 8 minutes talking about last week's episode, the opening, and then let's replay real quick the King of the Pirates late thing that's happened since the first episode. And then we're like, cool, I have now 10 minutes of new actual content.
Yes.
But that's...
I think they were playing the Fishman Island intro little sequence well into Just Roast right now.
It's those points where the animes are kind of like, okay, man, like, what are we doing here? I came in to watch a new episode, not half of an episode.
And sometimes you look at that, but it's like, is it better than waiting? Is it better than filler? Because some fillers can be good.
Yeah.
But there's some fillers that are just awful.
But then I will give credit though. So with animes, what I do enjoy, which I forget what anime just did it recently. Attack on Titan, for instance. Their ending of Attack on Titan, they did a really, really nice scene between Armin and Eren. In the manga, that scene never existed, which left like kind of like a hole in the manga. Kind of you're feeling like, man, like everybody was very dissatisfied. While in the anime, they talk it out, and in the end, Armin, they close it out so well in the sense of Armin explaining that it's like, you're never going to be alone because I'm going to go to hell with you. Like you are not alone in this, which is when animes can surpass the completed manga and be something better. And I give it that very few do it, but when it's done it's done amazing.
So, and then what would be your take on like light novels? And
so I was wondering if we were going to talk about it. So there's light. I have yet to get into light novels, only because getting into light novels, it's very, very, it's just reading a book. There's chapters and there's only dialogue, maybe one page of art between 60 pages. I'm not too into light novels because you've now taken away from, imagine no voices, right? So now you've gotten rid of no voices, so we're at a manga, and now you're taking away the art, the thing that makes manga and anime so enjoyable is seeing characters act out and showing their personality, compared to not even knowing what this character looks like because you're just reading text. I would not recommend, well, unless you enjoy reading. But also light novels, they're just so long because they also do chapters, but it's like 100-page chapter. So you're basically reading an encyclopedia at this point. Now, so those are light novels. I don't know if you've ever read. Have you ever read any like manhwas? Do you know what those are? Manhwas? So manhwas are like the Korean mangas, except they're like full color. They're like
no, but I will say, for the light novels, before we talk about that, would be I think they're a happy medium of staying away from filler, because at least in the case of what Naruto has done, and thanks to Kichimero, is that Kishimoto has looked over the light novel somewhat,
Uh,
so like it's in place of filler. So and it's still canonized, but it's not necessarily the main manga.
oh,
So the dinosaur thing with Sasuke is canon and it was animated,
uh,
but that never happened in the manga.
yeah, it's okay. But I will say though that people, I feel like authors usually do light novels as an epilogue, not really as because he wrote all those at the as an epilogue. I don't think he wrote them as he was doing Naruto. Like
So I don't.
yeah.
I think it's like people that work with Kishimoto write these ideas, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
if we have these light novels instead of filler, and where these are actually canon that connect with the canon anime,
Mhm.
you get a point where it's like you avoid filler, you avoid the pacing issues, you get content that actually matters, and context for what happens in the anime and manga.
Okay. The only thing I'm not a fan of in the sense of that, it's because when you finish up a manga, I hope you tie up loose ends. Obviously, Naruto wasn't the Kishimoto's idea of like the ending
Yeah.
because he obviously made Boruto. He aimed to make Boruto, right? But like so, Kishimoto wasn't the only one. Also, the Tite Kubo, the author of Bleach, also did that, where he made a light novel of like the epilogue after the ending of Bleach, kind of explaining like epilogue stuff, right? It's okay to do it if I guess if you're gonna like how do I say this? If it's gonna be just like an epilogue because you ran out of chapter, like they only gave you 4 weeks, so you needed to finish up your story in 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want, and obviously if you love the anime, you're gonna read the light novel so that you can get like an even more specific closure to actually be like, okay, I'm good after this, which is basically because that's what like Kishimoto did with, or maybe not him specifically, but that's what he approved when it was like the epilogue, because it was the Sasuke little dinosaur arc, but we also had the Shikamaru and 1010 light novel. That was also its own little light novel to like their relationship and when they had to deal with their kind of like epilogue story.
Tamari.
I said 1010, didn't I? Yeah, I meant Tamari.
Yeah.
It's too many T's. But if the thing is, you can't start with a light novel.
No, that's fair.
So, and at that point, you're telling someone read 700 chapters of Naruto, and then you'll understand the light novel. While actually, like I said, like if you're gonna start with a light novel that hasn't even become a manga yet, because a lot of light novels do that. I think one of the biggest ones right now is Mushoku Tensei, which is a really it's a isekai, really interesting. That the light novel is completely done. The manga's like maybe halfway done, and the anime just finished its season 2. So it's a pick your poison. If you have like an imaginative mind, you can just read the whole thing and finish it and be done. When you finish reading, you're done.
Yeah.
Or you can be in the manga where you like to see things as you read and you want to see like the characters interact and stuff instead of imagining it. Then you go for the manga where you're gonna have to wait maybe a month, maybe every 4 months or whenever that manga comes out, or the anime which comes out maybe every 2 years. In the end, it's always going to be about pick your poison of how much do you like this media and how much time are you willing to put into it.
That's fair, because at least in my case, as an anime watcher, there is a reality where I never see and never know the ending to Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Because for me, it ended with Gon reaching his dad.
Fair, but Hunter x Hunter, nobody knows. Even the people who are reading the manga right now, there's no ending. But again,
but
that's
at
like
least
one of the
you guys have more fights than I even know are even gonna happen.
Yeah, that's fair. That is true. That's fair. But yeah, that's the thing about being anime. Like not like I'm not saying like you're anime only, but if you don't want to take the time to go out and read, and sometimes the reads are rough. Like Hunter x Hunter, I will admit I read it. I'm caught up. I'm waiting for it to start coming back up again. and sometimes it feels like you're just reading blocks and blocks and blocks of exposition, which
Yes,
which
you
makes
killed my want to read Hunter.
which 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 is why Hunter x Hunter was so successful, because they had a narrator explaining everything to you compared to you having to read everything and maybe not even understanding it. Because when I did my first run through of Hunter x Hunter, I didn't watch the new one, the 2011 remake. I was in the 2000s, the old school Hunter x Hunter, where yes, there was a narrator, but it only went up to, I think it only went up to the, I don't even remember what it's called, the Game Island. I think that's when it went up to.
Oh,
No,
that's crazy.
yeah, it only went up to the Game Island. I didn't get no, I didn't. I had to read through the Chimera Ant arc and read each person's individual power and not understand crap, because I was like, there's just so much text, and it's just, it takes away from the enjoyment, because you're like, it's like doing homework. You're trying to understand. Okay, all right. So the I don't know, the pompadour guy, when he hits you, he puts a firefly on you, but then it's like a time thing, and it's complicated, like stuff like that. Which Hunter x Hunter, uh, another pro is just like cutting stuff like that down, where it's just have a guy read it to you. It's so much easier.
Yes.
But my one thing with kind of anime is, I think I said it earlier, it's when they do anime only endings, where it's like they completely strive off from the anime. They just, because they caught up too fast, they decide to take their own spin with it, and they completely make it its own thing. Like sometimes it's even to the point where like they're caught up with the anime, or with the manga, I'm sorry, but they still choose to change it, which is like, for example, something, and it's so subtle stuff, like in Death Note. So you've seen Death Note, you know the ending of Death Note in the anime, right?
Yes.
Where it's like Light, and he dies on the stairs, and he's kind of like, oh, you know, it's very like majestic, you know what I'm saying? Like he died with dignity,
Yes.
right? Like, right.
Mm-hmm.
While in the manga, it's
He
him.
went out.
He went out, and like a coward, he went out
Yeah.
getting what he deserved, which was begging for his life, saying, I don't want to die, like begging Ryuk to not kill him.
Save me.
And he's like, and then, as you know, as a reader, you're like, you're saying all this is the exact feeling you put to all the people you killed. They didn't want to die, so you're getting your just desserts, instead of the very dignified, like, oh, it's my time to go, and like, you know, it. And that's why, like, expression wise, I feel like you can read mangas nowadays and they'll give you the same type of feelings, as long as you know, I'll be fair, I think sometimes it's like when you watch like the anime, you now have like that voice in your head, so when you're reading it, it's a lot easier, because you can kind of like makeshift it if you have the ability. But nowadays mangas have become so, like, it's so hard to get published that the art of mangas are fantastic. Like My Hero, that the art in that is an S tier. I just reread it again, the final art, just for fun, and I was reminded of how fascinating it is. But it's like, if I have it here in a manga, why do I have to wait so long? Even though maybe we're in the last arc, but I have to wait. It's been maybe 2 months since the manga ended, and I'm probably gonna have to wait. Who knows if this season is the last one or not? But that's my opinion. I feel like there's so many mangas out there that you could read that will give you that same feeling that anime does, even without the voices. It just depends on what you're looking for.
That's a take. That's and it's fair. It's fair, but it's just for me. If I'm looking for like, even to like the action sequences look better animated, because they're not clunky. They're fluid, and it's like the tug emotionally, like the music that goes into it. I'm just more of like the love for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I just prefer the anime. But if you're just in a course of wanting more information, the anime may never come, or you'll have to wait years for it.
Yeah.
The manga is not a horrible way to take it.
Yeah. Again, it's 100% on. Can you like? Do you want to wait? If not, manga's there. If you don't mind it, you can pass time watching something else. Then just wait. It's in the end, you're still getting the best of what that studio making it decided was the best course to take for that manga, anime, whatever that you're gonna be watching.
Because the anime studio may change and it might ruin what the anime originally was. So that's what I was told was the consequence for Seven Deadly Sins, I believe.
Yeah. There's issues like that where sometimes the studio takes some budget cuts and it ain't worth it. It's you rather read it because the reading is so much. It's better. And that's the risk you take. That's the thing too.
Yeah.
People who read mangas just know there's always the potential that some crappy studio might take your anime and make it worse. But
yeah.
My last little point here is my pro of enjoying reading manga is I enjoy finding those diamonds in the rough, what is it? What's that saying?
Diamonds in the rough.
Diamonds in the rough. I enjoy finding those little gems of like, oh man, this manga is it's so good of a read, and then you're reading and reading and reading, and then out of nowhere it gets an anime adaptation, and you're like, that's great because you're seeing from the ground up, you're seeing that series that you're reading get its recognition and seeing how the way that you supported it, maybe you use a site, maybe you share it with your friends, any way that you can. But that's kind of why I enjoy reading manga, because I love seeing that moment where it's like, oh, I knew about this before it gets super big, or like it's those things that I like, and some people just like being the first to know, where it's like there's so many things out there that you read that may never become an anime, or surprisingly maybe something that you love to read and that you thought, okay, it's too old, it'll never get one, out of nowhere gets one like years later. It's something that I think everybody enjoys, and I think that if one day you decided that you wanted to try reading manga, or when you want to pick up anime, just pick a series, give it a read, see if you like it, and who knows, maybe you'll catch yourself just reading more or reading something else. It's 100% your journey in whatever you guys want to do, and I hope you guys just enjoy whatever you guys pick, and that's all I can say from here, Omar.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let us know in the comment section down below. Team anime or team manga?
Yeah. Peace.
Leave a like, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.